Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel and another live stream and another team news reaction. Of course, this time for Manchester United versus Everton. By the way, in that intro, did anyone hear my phone go off? Not very professional. I do apologise. Anyway, the Manchester United team news, the Manchester United reaction. A few changes. I believe, unless I'm counting this wrong, I believe we've got 6 changes to the starting 11 from what we saw in midweek. The goalkeeper and the back 3 look as though they are the same. And then across that next line of 4, we've got 4 new players. Dalot in at left wing back, Mainoo left centre mid, Casemiro right centre mid, Ahmad at right wing back again. And then the front 3, Bruno Fernandes keeps his place in the side. And then we've got Zirkzee and Rashford making up the rest of the attack. Yeah, did anyone hear the my phone go off during that intro? It's not very professional. I do apologise. Who have we got in the chat this afternoon? David, good to see you. Patrick, Heartzapper, George, Marcus, Elizabeth, Matt, good to see you all. Hope you guys are good. If I do miss you in the chat, I do apologise. I can't read every message. How are we feeling seeing this team news? I think when we got the team news last weekend for the Ipswich game, we saw it and we're a little bit concerned. We ultimately thought it was okay and would be good enough to do the job, but we were a little bit worried. And the vibe was interesting in here. I want to hear your guys' thoughts for this week. What do we make of it? What do we make of this starting 11? Thank you very much, David. I'll give that a shout in a second. Matt, good afternoon to you, sir. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. How do we feel about it? How do we feel about it? I'll be honest, it's not quite the 11 that I was expecting. It's not quite. In terms of what we predicted yesterday, I think we were 1, 2, 3 or 4 players off, I think, ultimately. I think that's how far away we were. I want Mainoo at the 10, though. I think it's a possibility, but I think it's a little bit unlikely. Hojlund should start. I think what we've got to remember is Ruben Amorim is going to have to be making a lot of changes right now. He doesn't know his team that well yet, and he keeps making this point about learning on the job. And I think what he's essentially saying is we haven't got enough time in training to get the whole team up to speed and understanding the system and things like that. So therefore, the only way these players can learn the system is by playing in it, and the only way you can play in it at a proper level is on a match day. So that's why we are seeing these rotations. We've also got fitness issues, obviously, with certain players. I, too, am a little bit uncertain about Ugarte not playing, for example. I would have had him in the team for the intensity, and I think we lose something there. I would also have Hojlund in the starting 11 normally. But again, I think we are protecting him for the next game. Whereas Garnacho, again, he's started the last 2 games, so I think it makes sense to bring him out of the side. I do just quickly want to change the Everton lineup because, as usual, I got it wrong. Up front, it is not Calvert-Lewin, which might be good for our centre-backs because he's annoying to play against. It is instead Beto, but I believe apart from that, we've got the rest of the team correct. We have. Anyway, I saw someone saying, actually quickly, David with the gifted membership. David, thank you very much. Guys, you know what to do. Copy Josh, turn the chat green because David, pretty much every single stream ever, is gifting a membership straight away right at the start. So make sure to say thank you for that in the chat. Anyway, I saw someone saying this isn't how I would line up the attack. I believe you said, I can't find the message right now, but you were talking about the front 3, saying that this isn't how you would do it. I would normally agree as well, right? I think Rashford is better on the left-hand side. The problem is, I also think Bruno is better on the left-hand side as well. The reason I've got the players in this order, in these positions, is simply because this is what the leaks online were. There's an account, I can't think of the name right now, but he leaked the lineup last week and the shape and was spot on. He done the same in midweek and he's done the same again here. So I'm assuming he's going to be right again, and he has said Rashford will be on the right-hand side of that attack. Bruno Fernandes will be on the left. The only thing I will say, right, is in terms of technicality, that left side diamond, you know, we were talking about diamonds in midweek. That left side diamond looks quite nice to me. I quite like this. Lisandro Martinez ball progression, Mainoo's ball carrying, Bruno Fernandes creativity, Dalot's sheer kind of physical presence, but also the technical ability as well. I actually quite like it. Alex and Tyler, good afternoon to you both. Hope you guys are well. I've seen Rashford play better on the right lately. I think he done alright there in midweek. He didn't do an awful lot, but we did see a couple of moments where the striker was dropping in a little bit deeper. It was Rasmus at the time, and Rashford was trying to burst in behind. I certainly think that's a pattern that we can see with Zirkzee playing up front. So that's interesting. Oh yeah, I know it wasn't you, but I'd swap Rashford and Zirkzee. Yeah, I understand that argument for sure. Obviously, Zirkzee is a bit better in the half spaces and things like that. The reason The reason I assume it's this way around is because Amorim did say after the game last week, Rashford against the two big centre-backs against Giants, it was a real problem. And you don't get much bigger in the Premier League than Tarkowski and Branthwaite. Like, physically, those two are so difficult to play against. Zirkzee perhaps dropping in is the way to try and manipulate that a little bit more, perhaps. Not trying to physically battle them, but instead dropping a little bit deeper. But Zirkzee's going to have to be sharp, and so far he hasn't been that really. So we'll have to see how that goes. Why is Hojlund rested? I think mainly, or Amorim said the other day that he looked dead at the end of the game, right? That he was absolutely shattered. So it makes sense. I think also, was it Alex pointed it out the other day, I believe. How many times in the past year have we seen Rasmus Hojlund play 90 minutes? Not very often at all, and he did the other day. So I guess it makes sense. I also think it's about not just resting Hojlund, but giving Zirkzee a go. You know, we can't just, if we never give Zirkzee a go in this system, we'll never know if he can do it. I think a lot of people have sort of written him off under a new manager. We will never know if he can play this system until we put him in the system. And you're better off doing it early in the Amorim tenure, in my opinion anyway. Big match midweek. Yeah, exactly. Someone like Mason Mount probably comes back in midweek, we will see. Rashford on the right makes sense with Zirkzee in the middle. No need to cut back into shoot after being played in. Yeah, I think it actually opens up quite a nice natural channel for him. Also, what we see in terms of Everton's structure is they're not a team that dominate the ball, but when they do get the ball, they want to push players forward. Mikalenko will often go forward from left back. I wonder if we are looking for some sort of movement where can Branthwaite be drawn by Zirkzee, and then we can get that ball in behind. Dallow's right foot could find that. Bruno's right foot could find that. Finding that ball, Rashford running onto it, and like Matt has said there, once you're in this position, being right-footed, it's a natural shot rather than having to cut back, get it back onto your right foot. So that could be what's going on here. Spot on, AJ, it was me. I thought it was. Hojlund workload still needs to be managed. 100%, he's still a fairly young player, right? Everton always get terrorised by Garnacho and Mainoo. This is one of the games where I miss Martial. Martial against Everton. Different gravy. He was so good. What's your score prediction, my brother? We will do that a little bit later on because right now I'm not completely sure. I haven't thought about it. We'll do it right at the end of the stream though. I completely agree Zirkzee suits playing striker with Rashford running in behind from the right. Yeah, the only perhaps slight concern I have in terms of if we're looking at that kind of block of four in the middle, right? Casemiro on the right, Kobbie Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, is defensively, is there a ton of intensity and ground coverage? I don't think so. You know, Rashford lacks intensity. Kobbie, does he lack intensity or just lacks athleticism almost at times? And we know that Casemiro also struggles with that. So I'm a little bit concerned on that front. And then on the ball, it's the question of do we have the players to take the ball in the tight spaces? Kobbie, yes. The other guys, I'm not so sure. I think there's certain ones that can do it. I think there's others that I'm not so sure about. Is Evans injured or just not involved at all? Sorry if you can hear the doggos, by the way, in the back. I don't actually know. Let me quickly check the bench. I haven't actually seen. He picked up an injury after last week. I do know that much. Yeah, he is not on the bench as far as I can see. So what I can see is that we've got Bayindir on the bench. We've got Harry Maguire. Great to see that. Tyrell Malacia again. Luke Shaw. Mason Mount, Ugarte. Anthony, Garnacho, Hojlund. And I mean, in terms of trying to make an impact from the bench, Hojlund, Garnacho, Mount, they're good players to bring on, right? So I don't mind that at all. I have no faith in Casemiro, Zirkzee and Dallow. That's the spirit. Dallow at left wing back keeps underlapping and coming inside. This system needs width. I think in the second half of the other night, it was instruction to try and get Garnacho out wide. And I actually like that tweak. I think for this game, I would agree, he's got to stay a little bit wider. Because if we've got Dallow coming inside and Bruno doing winger shifts, it's not really what we want, right? I think ultimately, what Amorim is aiming for in this game is real control on the ball. I think he knows his team off the ball is a little bit questionable in places, right? Lacks intensity. We can't always win the ball back that well. I think he's also very aware of the fitness of this squad. I think he will look for another game where we really keep the ball a lot. We saw it the other night. What was it? 72% possession? I think it was 72, something like that. I think, but we're going to see around 65 plus again. Or if we don't, I think it'll be the aim. Casemiro and Mainoo together will slow the game down. I think he'll want that. I think he will want that. He will want that kind of willingness and ability to take the extra touches, to slow it, to get us set in our system, rather than playing a lot of end-to-end football. I think end-to-end football, you would be really worried about this team because the defence hasn't got much physicality to it. The midfield doesn't have much athleticism. Therefore, we've got to keep the ball. Casemiro is therefore maybe a question mark for this game because he's not always the greatest with his ball retention. But I think that's just partly rotation as well. Shaw might come on sometime. I would expect him to for Lisandro Martinez, to be honest. I think he'll come on at some point, perhaps preparing him for the Arsenal game as well. I can see Casemiro and Kobe coming off for Ugarte and Mount. Yeah, same. I can 100% see that happening. Either with Mount playing deeper or, more likely, Bruno dropping deeper. Tire them out with 1,000 short passes. I think it's the plan. I really do. Casemiro's ball playing is underrated. I agree. I think his progressive passing is actually really good. It's those moments where he is asked to control the ball a little bit more, kind of dictate the tempo. I think he struggles with to a greater extent, but actually progressive passes. Again, if we're talking about Zirkzee trying to drag Branthwaite into positions, Rashford trying to get him behind, Casemiro's long passing is perfect for that. Dallo as well, like I said earlier, cutting in onto his right foot is perfect to find that pass, and the same for Bruno. Even Ahmad on the right, to be fair, cutting in onto his left foot. Again, I wonder if we can see that. It's a pattern I'm looking for. Working the ball to the right-hand side towards Mazraoui. We go into Ahmad. Can we get some sort of movement where can Zirkzee pin Branthwaite to open up this channel for Rashford? And then we play that ball? I think that's something that we could see in this game. When we try and speed it up, try and move it a little bit faster, I think that's a pattern that could be really useful. Again, if we're going back to what we saw in midweek, we're talking about the wide diamonds, right? So the wide centre-back, the central midfielder, the wing-back, and the inside forward. I quite like the two diamonds we've got. I think on this side, you've got the retention of Mazraoui and Ahmad, the passing range of Casemiro, the direct threat of Rashford. I like it. And then on this side, again, progressive ability, carrying ability, creativity, perhaps less direct runners. But I quite like our wide diamonds, and I think that will be the focus in this game, progressing the ball out wide. I think Everton will be really compact in their central shape, so I think it's going to have to be a lot of wide work again. It's why, again, I think the bench could be really key as well. Perhaps I'm wrong, I'm not sure. Rashford will play left and Bruno right. Possibly. Again, the leak is Rashford right-hand side, which is why I've done it like this, but I'm not too sure. How feasible would it be for Mainoo to play as an inside forward in this system? I've seen a lot of people saying it. I think it can work, but for me, Kobe is just a player you want on the ball as often as possible, and I think you get more touches deeper. So I think he can play there a game or two, but it's not something that I see for the long term. I think he is a deeper midfielder, a progressive midfielder, and you get the best ball progression when you can play deep, then move forward. So I think that's what's best for him. Have you noticed the two 10s leading the press rather than the striker? Any thoughts on that? I do want to cover the defensive structure so far. I was going to talk about it after the game in midweek because we saw changes from Amorim. I've decided to give it one more game before I talk about it, but you are right. There are situations where the two inside forwards come a little bit higher, and the striker actually drops into midfield, like this, for example, which is interesting. We've also seen, obviously, situations where our centre-backs are being drawn out a lot. That might be a concern in this game. Might be a concern, because Everton do have the ability to go long. Pickford's not bad with his long passing. Going long, Beto is a physical player. Second ball, they've got more physicality than us, I think. Bit more mobility. Again, Doucouré and Idrissa Gueye, not as mobile and physical as they were before, but I still think physical enough to cause us some problems, which I'm a little bit concerned about. All Kobe's great moments has been in that left half space, but he is more effective in the two. I think importantly as well, we discussed this the other week, when you play in Amorim's 3-4-3 and you play as the left-sided central midfielder, you do get the license to move up here, which is why I think it suits Kobe so well. We done a video on it the other week. I think this position can get the best out of him, but it's going to take time, right? He's only just coming back from injury. I think we're going to look a bit leggy in midfield, right? Because he's not fully fit, he's not completely sharp, and Casemiro is not the most athletic, so I do have concern there. I don't think people understand Mainoo as a player. He's not a 6, he's not a 10, he's a midfielder. Completely agree. He's good in and around wherever the ball is, especially if he can get the ball facing forward. I completely agree. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think you smashed it, mate. Do you think at some point we might see Maguire in central centre-back and De Ligt at right centre-back? with Maguire on for Rashford, Mazraoui playing right wing back, and then Ahmad in the 10. I'll tell you what, let's have a quick look at how that works. The only thing I will say, by the way, in terms of talking about Maguire, Ruben Amorim's approach to managing injuries early on is quite interesting. We've seen a few players who... Sorry, I'm getting confused here. We've seen a few players, I think we've seen Lisandro Martinez and now Kobe, who have had an injury, and we assume their first game back is going to be 20 minutes from the bench. But they actually come straight into the starting 11. I think we all thought with Kobe, the first 2 games he's been on the bench and not got a minute, so his first minutes will be 30 this weekend, for example. It's interesting that he brings him straight in from the start. Normally, your point on Maguire there, I would go, he's not fit, he's not ready to play yet. But Amorim might throw him in, I'm not too sure. In terms of how this structure works, I think it gives us a nicer blend in that box in midfield. We perhaps lack a bit of direct running threat, particularly with Zirkzee coming towards the ball. In terms of the back 3, what do you guys make of that? I think we lose something in terms of ball progression. Out wide anyway, Maguire does bring it in the middle. I'm not too sure. I still think Lenny Yoro might get this position in the long term, particularly if Mazraoui keeps playing so well on the right side of the fence. I think we could see that eventually. Yoro coming into this position, Mazraoui on the right, and then perhaps a new left-sided defender in the summer. Perhaps it's this guy. Not sure, but it's something to keep an eye on. Absolutely, something to keep an eye on. Good to see Zirkzee starting. I agree. I think, again, people have written him off so quickly. So quickly. I've said this quite a lot. There always used to be this perception that the Premier League was the best league in the world, and any player that comes into the league is going to take a minimum of 1 season before they get up to speed. Now suddenly, if you don't score 100 goals in your first 2 months, you're not good enough. You're not up to it. Where did that change? We used to expect players to take time because we think this league is so good. If this league is so good and so much better than all the others, surely it takes time to adapt to that. I think it's odd to write Zirkzee off straight away. Do I think he's one of the players who perhaps suffers with the loss of Ten Hag? Possibly. But I still think a good manager like Ruben Amorim will find ways for it to work. And if it doesn't work, then we'll move him on in the summer. But in terms of writing him off right now, assuming he's not good enough, it's crazy to me. It's crazy. He's a young player. He's not adapted to the league. Give him a bit of time. Bit of belief. I think that's what he needs. Zirkzee is so underrated. His skills are unmatched. I think more than anything, I think what Zirkzee gives us when he plays up front is something very different to the others. With Rashford, you get a player who wants to kind of, where possible, drop wide and get the ball because he's traditionally more of a winger. With Hojlund, you get that on the shoulder threat, wanting to spin him behind all the time. Zirkzee will give you something a little bit different. He will come into these areas. And again, with Rashford, I think that works. I think we've got a nice blend in that front 3. I think we were talking earlier in the season about the front 3 quite a lot, where there were games where it would be Garnacho, Rashford, Hojlund. And we would talk about it being too direct, trying to get the ball forward too quickly. I think this is a more balanced team. In terms of the temperament and the way that they play. Ahmad is someone who will keep the ball, who will try and create and things like that. Zirkzee is someone who will want to do the same. Bruno's then a bit more direct in terms of his creativity, and then Rashford we know is a direct player. I think it's nice. I like the balance. Hope you're doing good, AJ. I am, mate. I hope you are as well. Zirkzee's play off the ball has been good. His move in front of Garnacho the other day made the keeper hesitate. I think he's an underrated player. I think we do just need to take a moment, though, to talk about Kobe Mainoo. Right, how excited are you to see him back? Because how long has he been out? What is it? 7, 8 weeks? Something like that. I just love watching him play football. But we can talk about tactical fit. You know, does he fit the system perfectly? Or is he the right type of player we want for this role? Does he have the intensity we want? We can talk about all of that stuff. But come on, he's wonderful, isn't he? He's a wonderful, wonderful footballer, and just seeing that type of talent, not just the level of talent, but the type of talent that he is, seeing him back in the team, you know, the player that has come through the academy, seeing him in his team is just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I love watching him play football. So good. I'm not expecting his best performance today because he's been injured, he's not sharp, but just seeing him back makes me happy. Love watching him. Do you think Eriksen is out of Amorim's plans? Long term, yes. Right? I don't see him staying past this season. In the short term, no, he'll be used. I'm confident he'll be used. Do you have any updates on Lenny Yoro? Is it fitness or does he have an injury setback? I don't have any inside knowledge. I know no more than you guys. I think the last that I heard was there have been no setbacks. This was kind of always the plan. He does some days of team training, some days of individual training to get his fitness up. So I would imagine he's a few weeks away still, I would guess. By the way, guys, David has dropped a very important reminder in the chat. If you could leave a like on the stream, it would be amazing. There's a lot of people in here this afternoon, which, welcome, by the way, to everyone. Great to see you. Thanks for joining. If you could leave a like on the stream, it would be amazing. And also, if you could subscribe, it really helps the channel. We're trying to get to 45,000 by the end of the year. It's going to be a push, right? It's going to be a challenge. But I think if any group of people, any community can do it, I think it's you guys. So if you could like and subscribe, it would be amazing. And also, for a bit of bonus content, join the Discord. The link is in the chat at the top, thanks to David. Press on that, you can join the Discord server. Loads of stuff going on there. I think it will be very active this afternoon. Obviously in the matchday chat, but we also do gaming on there. We do tactical talk, sometimes some bonus content. Loads of stuff. So join the Discord as well. Is that all the plugging I need to do? I think so. Back to talking about Manchester United. Let's have a read in the chat. Why are we playing opposite-footed players on the wings? Where will the width come from? Great question. I love it. Let's quickly mark this. Dallo right-footed. Ahmad left-footed. What's the benefit of this? We've spoken about it a few times on certain streams, but obviously if you haven't been here, you don't know that. How does this work? Okay, where we start. Okay, how does this work? Let's start off with the wide centre-backs. First of all, this is important. We have a left footer on the left and a right footer on the right. Now, what that means in terms of pass arch is the ball is going to go a certain way, right? So let's say we particularly are trying to play out from the back and Lisandro Martinez has the ball and he is left-footed. He's going to be closed down from this angle. If he was right-footed, he'd probably want to try and play infield, or he would pass it kind of with this arch, right? From the right foot like this. It'd go out to him. Sorry, in to out. Whereas when he's left-footed, the pass goes out to in, like so. Now, when the wing-backs receive the ball, they are nearly always initially back to goal, right? Because when you receive, you're kind of facing play. You want to help your team play out from the back, so you go towards the ball. So you receive the ball with your back to goal. What this kind of, I use the term the weak foot wing-back or the wrong-footed wing-back or wrong-footed wingers, however you want to describe it. What this does when you play that ball is it gives you potential to take your first touch kind of infield like this, away from the pressing player behind you. And then because the ball is on your strong foot, what happens is the whole pitch opens up. If he was a left-footed player here, having taken that touch inside, he doesn't really want to go and explore these options in the middle of the pitch because it would be on the wrong foot. But because he's right-footed and has spun into the pitch like this really opens up for him. He can, play infield to Cobby, he might progress it. But also what we've seen a lot at Sporting, but also in Amorim's first 2 games at United as well, is this quick kind of, how do we call it, the hooked pass almost? Where you receive the ball, you take a touch, and you absolutely hook it. You hook it in behind like this, and that might be for a runner like Bruno. It might be further across the pitch to someone like Rashford, or it could even be a big switch, literally over to the other side. And the reason you want to do that is because we know that teams defend one side of the pitch. So many teams in the Premier League at the moment want to lock you to one side. They want to force the ball over to one side of the pitch and almost make it like a small-sided game over there. If you have this player who can get the ball across to the other side, we can see you've now got a bit more space. And now we can kind of receive facing play. So I think that's a lot of the reason behind it. Anyone got anything they want to add to that? Also, by the way, I think I missed something whilst I was waffling. I did. It was Alex in the chat with a gifted membership. Alex, thank you very much. It went to, who is it? Bog. Bog, you got a gifted membership from Alex, mate. Guys, you know what to do. Love hearts in the chat. Turn the chat green. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you very much, mate. Really do appreciate it. Any news on Collier? I haven't seen a thing, I'll be honest. Haven't seen a thing. I can't stand inverted wingers. It restricts the width in the final third. Yeah, I would agree. I've seen someone else say it as well. I would agree. In the final third, it can become a bit more restrictive. In these deeper areas, I think it's great for ball progression because you can switch the ball side to side, move the opposition. I think in the final third, it can perhaps be a bit more limiting at times. When the opposition are deep and compact, if everyone wants to come back inside the pitch onto their stronger foot, it can become really condensed. The only thing I would say is I don't really think we've had that problem in the first 2 games. Obviously, the other day, Malacia was on the left, so that kind of addressed it anyway. I wouldn't say we've seen that problem, though, of the team being too narrow. I think there is a risk of it happening when we use this lineup, But as of yet, I wouldn't say we've seen it. I think the kind of patterns of movements with the players have been good enough. I think also, particularly on the right, when Ahmad gets the ball, let's say he does want to go inside on his left, right? Excuse the doggos. When he does want to come inside onto his left, Rashford will make a run that way. Whether that be properly wide or perhaps in behind like this, we do still end up with a right-footed player in that position who can then deliver. So I think it changes the dynamic in the final third. But as of yet, it hasn't been a problem. I think particularly because we're quite methodical with the way that we build the ball, we are patient in our moves and things like that. I think it's okay. John, good afternoon to you, sir. How are you? Honestly, I'm not bad at all, thank you. How about yourself? I hope you are good. But with our players, we usually lose the ball because of this wrong-footed. I don't think we have seen that problem in the last 2 games. I think perhaps earlier in the season or previous seasons, I would agree with you. I don't think we've seen that problem too much. There was an instance in the Ipswich game where Ahmad tried to hook a ball, and he failed it across the pitch. But that's going to happen, right? We're going to fail passes. It's a bunch of humans on a football pitch, so we are going to fail passes here and there. So far, I don't think we've seen too much of an issue with it, but maybe that's just me. Amorim said he needs Zirkzee to get in the box. Do you think that will happen more today? It's a good question. It's a very good question. We all saw as Zirkzee was coming on against Ipswich last week, Amorim giving those instructions of go on, bring me some intensity, get yourself in the box, make things happen, and didn't really do it, did he? Didn't really do it. He was drifting about the pitch, dropping a little bit deeper. I think we need him in the middle. I think we need that. We saw with Rasmus the other day, particularly for the second goal. Was it the second goal? I'm trying to picture the 2 goals now. Both goals. When you get yourself in the middle, in the box, as a striker, you're going to get chances, right? Occasionally a ball will drop to you, particularly with Amorim's system putting a greater emphasis on that, working chances for the striker. As a striker, you're going to score your goals in here. You're not going to score your goals from this position, not very often. You're not going to score your goals out here. The top strikers score tap-ins. Constant tap-ins. It's not about worldies and phenomenal ball striking and all of that. Get yourself in the box, and if you can score 8 tap-ins a season, that really boosts you. It really boosts you as a player. Zirkzee doesn't have that at the moment, or hasn't had it so far. Hopefully he can add it in this game, because I think we're going to have a lot of the ball, and I think Everton will be fairly deep, getting players into these deeper positions, kind of compacting it, trying to reduce the space. I think when you're playing against a team like that, you don't need your striker to always come in here. Sometimes you actually just want that guy up front, almost waiting for the ball a little bit more. Is Zirkzee the man for that? I'm not sure. Van Nistelrooy used to score at least 10 tap-ins in per season. Exactly. Tap-ins are the best goals in football. We all, right, aesthetically, we all love a 40-yard screamer, right? But the best strikers just stand there, kick it 3 yards into the back of the net. Like you said, 10 times a season. That's what the best strikers do. I want a brace for Zirkzee, build up his gravity. I'll tell you what, Zirkzee will be, you've used the word there, gravity. Zirkzee will be at his best when players are scared of him. That's when you'll see the best of Zirkzee. When players feel that sometimes you're going to need 2 to try and stop him, that's when he'll really create room for others. Or when players will actually drop off to give him time, but then he can turn and carry. That's when you'll see the best of him, I think. Can't decide if I believe Amorim would use this as a development game for Zirkzee or not. Maybe he's trying what I suggested and giving him a run being more direct. Yeah, I'm not sure. Is it purely rotation? Is it actually tactically he thinks he suits this game? We'll probably never know, right? Everton to camp in their half, another 70% possession game incoming. Hopefully we're looking at that sort of game again, because that would be, I think, quite a clear statement from Amorim that this is how we want to play. And I think if that is the case, then the players that we are looking at being important is Mazraoui and Lisandro Martinez. Their ability to progress the ball, of course, right? Passes through the lines. I thought Licha was unbelievable the other day. So good playing passes through the lines. Mazraoui, we know how good he's been recently. He's just the greatest of all time, right? Phenomenal player. But what I also like about these two is I feel like they understand the tempo a bit more. They are very aware that they are 2 of the most progressive players in the squad. They're aware of that, but they're also aware that that doesn't mean you always have to go forward. That sometimes you do have to pass the ball sideways. You do have to sort of have a probe down this side. It doesn't work. Okay, let's go back the other side. Let's go over here. Can we go this way? No, we can't. All right, let's go back over this side. And what happens when you do that is you move a team side to side. Your team shuffles left from Everton's point of view, then your team shuffles across to the right. What happens when you do that is at some point a gap is going to open up. Because, again, you're playing against 11 humans. There are going to be moments where they don't quite sync up their movement, where the players aren't quite together. For example, in a little space like this is when you can then find someone in a pocket. In here, can you find someone in these spaces? This is what United need to do, and I think it's what Amorim is really going for. A patient approach, shifting the opposition side to side. We've seen the usage of the long balls as well. But then also, when possible, can we get the ball in there? Can we go central, and can we kind of penetrate in these areas? I don't think we've seen this as much yet under Amorim, but of course it's only been 2 games. But I think particularly as we progress, this is something that we will really look for. I think also the movement of Kobe can be important to that, because if he can move a little bit higher up the pitch, almost into this 3-1 shape, move a little bit higher in here, it could allow Bruno and Rashford to really be proper half-space players in this game, receive the ball in these areas, where naturally they should get a little bit more time to be creative, to be expressive. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works. Do you think there's any chance Zirkzee plays behind Rashford, or does the physical argument rule that out, Tarkowski and Branthwaite? I think in terms of, if we really want to put this like in a structured way, like that, it will be Zirkzee up front. Rashford is the deeper one with Bruno Fernandes. In terms of how it actually plays out during the game, I think we will see a lot of rotation. I think there'll be moments where Zirkzee's moving into these spaces and Rashford will go past him on quite a regular basis. By the way, anyone spamming in chat, that's going to happen to you. You're going to be muted, or you're going to be banned, or something like that. No need for spam. If we could avoid the spam, it would be great. And also, no capital letters, or obviously for a name. We like good punctuation and all that stuff. But don't just spam all caps, all right? That's what I'm trying to say. Let Casemiro start, bring on Ugarte in the second half. I think that's what we'll see. I think Zirkzee's presence helps Rashford, just like Martial did. I think you're onto something. Because Zirkzee and Martial have a similar type of style. Yeah, I think really, just to see the best of it, we just need a bit more speed from Zirkzee. And again, that comes from adapting to the pace of the league, understanding the tempo. When he does that, you will see his best moments. Zirkzee, I don't care what anyone says, Zirkzee is a phenomenal linking striker. In terms of a facilitator player, he's unbelievably good when he's on it. We just now need him to be on it. But that's going to take time. This is his first start in this system. His first minutes up front in this system. When was his last start under Ten Hag and Van Nistelrooy? I can't remember. But he's not played a lot of football recently, has he? Not at all. Got to take a bit of time. He's giving Rashford chances, so when he doesn't perform, it'll be easy to drop him. I don't think I know what you mean, but fair enough. Can Doucouré's ball-carrying ability be a negative for Casemiro? Good question. Perfect point to come on to. Have a little look at Everton. Ball-carrying is a problem. Doucouré, strong, really physical, good ball carrier. But also, Dwight McNeil. This guy's a winger. He's a left winger normally. He plays out here. He's even played wing back before. But he does a lot of work like this around this side of the pitch. Putting him in the middle is really interesting. He's played there a couple of games in a row. Ball carrying ability is what you will get. And that is what Everton will bring. And again, if we're looking at United, I mean, it's not too great, is it? We're not the best team when it comes to stopping these situations. Our midfielders struggle with it. And our centre-backs don't always understand when to engage and be aggressive and when to drop off. So that might be a problem for United in this game. Again, I think it's why for Amorim, the view will be, if we keep the ball as much as possible, they physically can't hurt us, right? They're not going to score while we've got it. And I think we will see that approach again. Is this the confirmed 11? It is. It is indeed. For both teams. Just tuned in. I know it's rotation, but I'm concerned about that midfield. When you say midfield, are you talking purely the two, Casemiro and Kobe? Or do you bring kind of Rashford and Bruno into that as well? Interested to hear what you think. Scouts watching Patrick Dorgu today, apparently. Good player. Really good physical left back. My goal threat for United, Bruno and Casemiro. Yeah, we'll come on to predictions in a little bit. Anyway, what else we got going on in chat right now? Here, Zirkzee will not actually play in that number 9 role, but Rashford will. Again, I think in terms of on paper, most of the time Zirkzee will be the focal point. But I think in terms of how it actually plays out on the pitch, like you have said there, I think there'll be a lot of Rashford going past him. A lot of Rashford making these runs into the final third. I think we'll see that really regularly in this game. I don't expect a fast goal again like the Bodo Glimt game. Can you imagine, by the way, if we score inside the first 2 minutes again? That'd be beautiful. Because the crowd, you can tell the effect it has on the crowd. You know, games get stodgy when you're 0-0 after 45, 50, 60 minutes. A game where you can score early helps so much. If we could do that again, it would be amazing, because then it really allows you to take your time on the ball as well, because you don't have to force these things through the thirds. You kind of play the game at your speed, and that's exactly what Amorim will want. But I mean, the likelihood of actually scoring inside 2 minutes again is probably a little bit unlikely, right? Sport Gang, good afternoon, mate. How are you doing? One issue on Thursday was Lisandro Martinez's timing to engage. Can Dalot cover him if that mistake happens again? Can Mainoo, can Casemiro? Well, to address kind of the latter part of that message, Casemiro and Kobe, probably not, to be honest. I don't think so. I think Dalot does perhaps help a little bit more. In terms of the goal the other night, do I trust Dalot's concentration? Yeah, I think I do enough for this one. I think if Dalot had been playing the other night instead of Tyrone Malacia, I think his physicality, his athleticism would have prevented that goal from happening. I think. Obviously, we'll never know. But it is something we've got to look out for in this game, because it is a unique structure that we use. It is unique. There's not many teams in the Premier League, but also in Europe, that play in this way. And kind of the way I'm talking about is, let's say Dwight McNeil's here. What we would normally see... Hang on, let's make sure I order this right, actually. Let's say this is his man here. What we would normally see is, as Dwight McNeil drops here, particularly wider, but just anywhere in these positions, what would happen, let's say Lindstrom's higher, what would happen is you would pass that player on. You'd pass him on. So as Licha, initially you're on McNeil, but as he drops deeper, you'd go, all right, Dalot, you go take him now, mate, so I can play a little bit deeper because I'm a centre-back. And if the ball goes wide, I'm happy to try and deal with that. Normally, that's what you would see. But what Manchester United are doing is asking the centre-back to keep being aggressive, keep following that man. It is almost fully man-to-man in those situations. And it's the wing-back's responsibility to track back a little bit deeper. Now, so far, I don't think that's worked. Johnny Evans really struggled last week with this sort of role. Lisandro Martinez in midweek had a couple of issues with this as well. It's not an easy role to perform at all. Do I think we should keep doing it? Not too sure. I'm not too sure. In terms of the why he's doing it, I think I understand the logic, right? Because let's say it is the other way around. We do it like normal clubs do it. And you put our centre-back in this position where Lisandro Martinez is. Do we actually have a single centre-back that we back here? Lisandro Martinez, De Ligt, Maguire, Evans, Lindelof's probably up there. And obviously Yoro would be as well. I think he might be doing this to make sure our centre-backs are defending in the middle rather than being dragged out wide. We've seen it in moments, of course, but we haven't seen an awful lot of Lisandro Martinez having to break into tackles out here. You know, we saw it the other day in midweek, but we're not seeing it a lot. We're not seeing it a lot. So I think that is the idea behind it. We're just lacking the execution. It's a difficult system. We perhaps lack the personnel for it. It's a bit of a tricky one, to be honest. It is a bit of a tricky one. This centre-back pushing up idea isn't going to work midweek. Tried out with Saka and he absolutely rips us apart. I think in midweek, obviously, we'll address it later, but I think in midweek we will see a slightly more cautious approach, a slightly more passive approach. I'm not going to say park the bus, but I think it will be a bit more of a mid-block. I think we will look to contain a little bit more, a bit like the Sporting team used to do in the Champions League in the big games, like City, like Arsenal, etc. I think we will see a slightly more cautious team in the middle. I think, but I'm not sure. Okay, time for lunch, so I'm predicting a 3-1 win for United. Great stream as always. Thank you very much, Simon. Enjoy your afternoon, enjoy your lunch. Hopefully we win the game, right? Hopefully. Are we doing a watch-along? Not today, no. We've actually never done a watch-along. Will it ever happen? I'm not too sure. But for now, it won't be. However, because I can't do a watch-along, I'll offer you guys an alternative, and that is that tonight, I will analyse this game. I'm pretty confident I'll be the first one to analyse it. Other people might react to it and give their thoughts and views, but in terms of breaking down the shape, the structure, the patterns and things like that, I should be the first, if not one of the first, to do it this evening. So subscribe, get your notifications on if you want to understand basically the how and the why behind Manchester United's win and really good performance. Right? That's what we're hoping for. Shouldn't Bruno be marking McNeil instead of Martinez in that case? Why can't Bruno catch on to that? Well, because the thing is, chances are we are aggressive at that point. So Bruno's up here, Cobby's probably here, so he's kind of already got a different player, is sort of what's going on there. Live stream analysis or video? It'll be a video tonight. I might then do a stream tomorrow morning with a bit more of like a less nerdy reaction to it almost, but we'll see. Like the stream for a chance of a watch along in the future. Listen to Josh, guys, because if these streams do keep doing better, then we will eventually branch out into watch alongs and things like that. So 200 likes before you go. Are we not on that already? Are we not on that already, guys? We've got over 700 people in here. And we haven't even got to 200 likes. Guys, I'm going to stop for a moment. Leave a like on the stream. Leave a like on the stream. This is a good Manchester United starting 11. We're in a positive mood this afternoon. Positive vibes. We can hit 200 likes for sure. For sure. I'm going 3-0 United. Everton don't really score, so that should be good for my FPL points for Mazraoui, Ahmad and Onana. I also bought Mazraoui into my team. I don't know if I've started him actually, but he is in my team this weekend. It's free to like the stream. It is. It literally doesn't cost anything. You just press it. It's the same for the subscribe button, right? You just press it, and that's all the magic done. It's beautiful. Same with joining the Discord as well. In the chat, join the Discord. Again, completely free, and there will be a lot of football talk in there this afternoon about Manchester United. I would imagine the City-Liverpool game as well. There's loads going on. Should we go to predictions? I know we're a little away from kickoff yet, but I think we have just about covered everything. Today. So do we get into some score predictions? I want us to concede and for it to be fine. Oh, does that even exist, Matt? Does that even exist? Oh, voice crack. Does that even exist at this football club? Because I know what you mean, right? Anytime we concede a goal, it's like, we're fucked. Particularly if we could concede first. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Beto is a bigger problem for us than Calvert-Lewin. I'm not sure. I think Calvert-Lewin offers a bit more in behind into the channels, kind of fighting the centre-backs a little bit more. Beto is a bit more of a technical player, which might be a problem for De Ligt. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think. Anyway, when it comes to the predictions, by the way, guys, if you are a member, you've got a load of emojis you can use. You've got a load of emojis you can use in the chat, and some of them are United players. So when you do your predictions, you might say 3-0, but you can pick your goal scorers. We've got all the attackers. We unfortunately don't have the deeper players yet because we haven't unlocked them. But we've got the likes of Hojlund, Rashford, Bruno, Garnacho, Ahmad, Zirkzee, Mount, Anthony, Cobby. They're all there. Yeah, like Callum's just done. Unfortunately, we don't have Casemiro, but yeah. I reckon a squeaky 2-1 win, goals for Zirkzee and Hojlund from the bench. Ooh, that'd be nice to see the strikers scoring again. It would really back the point that we were making before he came in if we could see the strikers scoring again. Callum says Casemiro, Rashford and Hojlund in a 3-0 win. Josh says 2-0, Rashford and Bruno. First time I'm hearing Beto is a technical player. He hasn't necessarily shown it in the Premier League yet. He is actually quite technical. He's got a really nice first touch at times. The way he brings players in is actually really good. I just think he's been used the wrong way by Everton. I think he's been used as too much of a target man. A bit like what we were doing with Hojlund at times. We were using him as a target man, a backboard. And that's how they've used Beto. It's not the way to use him. He's quite technical. Zirkzee, Rashford and Bruno on the score sheet for me, 3-2. See, I've got in my head 2-0, right? But I'm thinking, do I back us to keep a clean sheet? With what we've seen in the first two games, the evidence of the first two. I don't think I do. I think we'll concede. How many do I think we'll score is the question. We'll only concede one, and that goal will come from McNeil. But who will score for United? And how many will we score? I think Bruno will score. I think Garnacho might score from the bench. Bruno, Garnacho. Is there another one? Or is it just a 2-1 win? 2-1, you know. I reckon it's 2-1. 2-1. Bruno and Garnacho. That's my bet. 3-1 to United, Rasmus, Rashford and Bruno. I mean, I would love it if we can get 3. If we can get 3, it'd be amazing. Why not Rashford and Shaw today? I believe it's a sort of rotation policy. You know, new manager, a lot of games. He's trying to get new players into the system. He's trying to help them understand the system. But also, people need rest and things like that. Predictions are silly. Let's just enjoy the game. I do apologise if you find them silly. But it's a nice thing. It's more about engaging with the chat, right? I don't want you guys to just sit here and be bored. Bit of interaction is good, and a prediction is a way to do that. So, as a fan, I'm grateful for the high intensity the opposition played against us. I think it will help the players improve faster. That sounds very Amorim-like. He said it the other day. Don't say Rashford. He doesn't score when you predict him to, unless I wink. But I'm not even predicting him today. Yeah. 3-0, trust me, clean sheet. Yes, please. 3-2 comeback. Bruno, Garnacho, Erasmus. Oh, comeback. What's that? From 2-0? From 2-1? From 1-0? Do you do watch-alongs? Not yet. I've never done a watch-along before. If the streams do amazing in the future and keep getting lots of likes and lots of views like today, but even more likes, then maybe in the future. I can't guarantee it. I can't promise it because it's difficult to analyze the game for a video whilst doing a stream, if you know what I mean. But we'll see in the future. We'll see. So leave a like. Well in, AJ. I can't remember what I said, but thank you, mate. I appreciate that. That's my man right there. I think we're finished, right? We've still got half an hour till kickoff, but I don't think we've got any more to say. So I think we might start wrapping this stream up. You guys can go chill. You can go get yourself a nice drink, something to eat for the game, right? Because I think actually for this stream, we've covered everything. We've spoken about United tactically, where we like it in certain diamonds, where we don't like it, midfield balance, a little bit on the threat that Everton might bring, the reasoning behind some of the selections. We've done score predictions. I think we've got through everything. Did you choose Bruno and Garnacho because of your FPL? I actually don't have either of them. Which I'm kind of ashamed of myself. I didn't have a United player until I bought Mazraoui in, so that's why I had to change it. Need to find a stream to watch the game. I would never stream a game. What are you talking about? I watch everything completely legitimately. I'm flying to America this afternoon to watch it. True story. True story. Anyway, I think we are finished there. Does anyone have any kind of last little bit of conversation they want to get in the chat? Any last minute thoughts? Anything on Amorim you want to say? The selection, the squad, Everton, anything like that? Any more predictions? Any rogue predictions? Proper outside the box? Quickly let me know in the chat. If I don't see anything in the next minute or so, then we will start wrapping it up. Which players would you think Amorim won't use in 2 years? Well, I think there's a few of them. And you know what? I'm not going to say anything yet because it's almost a spoiler for a stream I want to do in the future. Score prediction in the City-Liverpool game. I love that. I'm not going to get to watch that, by the way. I'm gutted. It's the biggest game of the season, or one of the biggest games of the season. And I'm not going to get to watch it because of breaking this game down, analysing it. I'm gutted. I'm heartbroken. Keep me updated, though, in the Discord. Do we think Kobe comes back with a banger? See, I've kind of got it in my head that, you know, he's a young player. He's first, well, not his first, but he's had 8 weeks out with injury. He's going to be a little bit slow on his first game back, right? He's going to struggle a little bit. I just feel like he comes in and he just hits the ground running because that's what Kobe does. He's just an unbelievable player. So I think he might be all right. We've got 250 likes, but I think you need 300. I think we should get near 300, right? We had 700 people in here at one point. It's gone down a little bit. Because clearly, everyone thinks that predictions are childish. A few more likes would be nice, though. A few more likes. If you could quickly leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and also join the Discord, it would be great. I think apart from that, though, we are finished for today. So thank you guys very much for watching. Like I said, we've had over 700 people in here at one point, which I don't know if it's a record. I don't know what a record is, but it's right up there. It's a lot of people. A lot of people. So shout out you guys, because I'm aware a lot of people will be streaming right now. So thank you for choosing me. If you have left a like, thank you very much. If you have subscribed, you're an absolute freaking legend. If you joined the Discord, you're an even bigger legend. Also, shout out everyone who has been involved in the chat. A lot of good talk in there today. A lot of good comments coming in, suggestions, thoughts. I love all of it. And of course, we also had some gifted memberships in there as well, which is amazing. Last thing you need to do is drop a like on the stream if you think either me or this beautiful bastard here are handsome, all right? Drop a like. But yeah, apart from that, I will see you guys tonight after the game. The video will be out analysing Manchester United's win. I think that's all. Just subscribe. Thank you very much. What an absolute legend. Enjoy the game, folks. Enjoy the game. Hopefully, we see a nice, confident, dominant Manchester United performance. Old Trafford is a rockin'. And we can enjoy the rest of our weekend, knowing that our club is not back, of course, but on the up. On the up. That's what we want. In terms of the actual stream, we're finished there. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. As always, I'll see you in the next one. I'm not going to bother with trying to even time this because I always get it wrong anyway. So I don't know how to end this stream without it seeming a little bit buggy and blunt. So you know what? I'm just going to press end stream randomly, and then the stream is randomly going to stop. Let me know in the Discord what word it stopped on. For now, I'm just going to keep waffling. Just keep waffling. Haven't really got much else to say. The stream's going to stop randomly. Hope you enjoy the random stop of the stream.